Well, it's actually been 4 days since I rushed outside to save my violets and white clover and my dead purple nettle so that I could make them into teas and my flower essence remedies. I'm making a flower essence remedy out of this beautiful violet that was growing in the yard. And as you can see, the purple sweet violet that has dried in the dehydrator, it's shrunk, but what's been sitting in my bowl has not. Okay, we really don't want to let our flower essences sit for 4 days like I have done. However, we had just some things come up and I just couldn't get to it this weekend. And that's what's so great about herbs. Herbs are forgiving. We do need to, treat them right, but I'm still expecting to get emotional support and help from my sweet violet, even though it's been sitting in my water for 4 days. And I'm excited to look at my dried herbs. I had a lot more white clover than I did the violets, and then I have some purple dead nettle that I was able to save. Now, a lot of times when we're wildcrafting our herbs, we do have this issue, of I only got a few. I don't have a big, like when I order my peppermint, I get it in this really big bulk bag. I get a pound at a time, and I'm going to have peppermint in my garden this year, so I'll be harvesting my own peppermint this year. I'm excited about that, but I ordered this 1 pound bag, and I'm going to use this later. But what I'm just saying is, just because we have this small amount doesn't mean we don't have enough, because what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to blend all of these 3 together. Instead of a single herb, I'm going to put them together into 1 jar, and I'm going to make it my spring seasonal support tea. So I am going to take the first thing is I'm taking my, and they pop everywhere. See, they're dry. They're dry. I'm going to take my white clover. And next, I'm going to mix a little bit. I'm going to just layer it. So I just left the stems on. I'm not crushing them. I'm putting them all together. And so I'm going to layer it. But what I'm also going to do is I'm going to add, I don't even have to add a lot. See, I'm already filling up this one it's a pint-sized jar with what I harvested out of my yard. Now, I've got some tips for you, okay? It's really important if you're going to wildcraft herbs that you do not harvest herbs that have been sprayed with chemicals. So anything that, if you have these growing in your yard and you've been spraying herbicides and pesticides on them, you don't want to use that for your wildcrafting. If they grow alongside a busy highway where exhaust fumes are hitting them, you don't want to harvest that either. So maybe you're thinking, hey, there's a park, there's a public park. You might want to ask, because they may still spray. The parks that we go to nearby, they spray along the paths for mosquitoes as well as for weed control. So you want to make sure that wherever you're wild harvesting, that there hasn't been any spraying on it. Plus, if it's not your land, if it's not your property, ask permission. Don't assume. Find out who owns the land and ask permission. I've had students who have traveled an hour or two to visit friends just so that they could harvest and wildcraft herbs from their property, and they were fine with that. So there are ways. I know some people live in the city and they find it hard to wildcraft. And so it is nice that we can order herbs online and things like that. But if you can, wildcrafting is fun. Harvesting your own herbs is fun. So do it. See what you can come up with. So I'm going to finish filling my jar. And I love the dehydrator, because now, see, it's bendy. I can take it and I can, of course, it wants to hold on. The little stems are saying, hold on. Don't let go. But it's just so easy to use a dehydrator. Now, you don't have to have a dehydrator like I do. It's nice. You can actually, make screens or get screens or use old screens of some kind and dry your herbs outside in the sun. You can do it in the oven on a very, very low setting. However low your setting will go. I think most go down to 175 as their low. Some may go lower than that depending on your oven. But you can use various methods to dry your herbs. So I've got this filled up now with my spring seasonal support, and I'm going to add, goodness gracious me, I did not bring a measuring spoon, but you know what? That's okay. I'm just going to add a little bit of peppermint for flavor. So a lot of times people who are making their own recipes, they want an exact recipe. Well, guess what? I didn't measure any of this. I didn't measure to see how much I have of the white clover or of the violet or of the purple dead nettle. Now, should we measure? It's a great idea. Okay, I'm not against it. Following recipes so that you're getting a good blend is really important, because when you're actually blending your teas together, your herbs together, our herbs have herbal actions, and they have different things that support. So you want 1 or 2, maybe 3 herbs that are giving you the main action you want, with the other herbs coming in and supporting that. Well, all of these herbs help with the lungs, respiratory issues, lymphatic, seasonal, respiratory, immune, and the peppermint does too a little bit. So I added that in for a little bit of a fresh flavor just to see how that's going to work. So I didn't measure this time. And you know what? As a home herbalist, that's okay. It's okay. We want to do things with what we have outside. When I grow my vegetable garden and green beans come in, for the first few days, there's only like 10, but you can't leave them there. You got to use what you got. So be creative, put yours together. If you have a favorite seasonal herbal blend that you like, that you wildcraft, or maybe that you buy and you blend together yourself, would you drop me a comment below and tell me all about it? Because here's the honest truth. I'm looking forward to drinking this. I'm going to be making a tea later. But in the meantime, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a lid on it. Now, I had plastic lids for my jars, and I don't know where they went. But what I'm going to do before I leave this project, I am going to label seasonal spring support, because these herbs are coming up in the spring. They'll come up in the summer too. So I included purple dead nettle, white clover, sweet violet, and peppermint leaf. I date it, and I'll use about a tablespoon later when making my. Okay, so that's ready. Okay, so I am going to now make my flower essence remedy. Now, I have a video on how to make flower essence remedies, and you can, watch that here. So I'm not going to give you a step-by-step here. I'm just going to go through the process, just showing how we can do different things with our herbs, with our flowers, with our plants. So I've got my strainer, I've got my cheesecloth to catch the fine particles. Okay. So we're going to use what we do. I know I said not step by step, as we use half and half. This is 1/3 of a cup. So to make my mother essence, I'm going to use 1/3 of a cup. I'm going to use my funnel. There's my flower water. Oh, brand new bottle of brandy that Mr. Sweet got for me. I don't drink brandy, so I don't use this except for when I'm making my remedies. That was not coming off. So, man, these metal, it's got little sharp edges, so being careful. Wow. Okay. Now that we've got that open, we're going to do 1/3 of a cup. Of brandy. Now the cool thing about the mother essence, I mean, the flower essences are so easy. The cool thing about them is, all right, let's label. The cool thing about them is it's so easy. Once you make the mother, you've got plenty. So this is Sweet Violet Mother Essence and the date. What a mess. Okay. All right, so we have our label, and we're going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and make a stock bottle and a tincture bottle while I'm here doing this. So to make our stock bottle, we're going to use, just kind of blend that together. Okay, so to get my stock, I'm going to I poured that in there. We're going to get 20 drops. Now that I have my mother essence in my stock bottle, I'm going to pour it back in here for storage. I mean, I'm not making this for resale purposes, so there's no reason why I can't do that. This is for me personally, but I've got that. Then we want to use, we got a 2-ounce bottle, so a little bit less than an ounce of spring water. That's a little bit more than an ounce. And I'm pouring it in the bowl because I don't want to put it back. This had the brandy, so I don't want to do that. And about an ounce of the brandy. So I'm looking, I've got the measure back here. Just under. And then we're going to label our stock bottle. And one thing I could have done is I have both amber and blue bottles that I keep on hand. I could have put my stock in the brown bottle instead of the blue, because this one's going to be my dosage bottle. Now, I can take either of these, but if I make a dosage bottle, so this is made with spring water. And then we take our stock bottle and just 2 drops 2 to 4 drops. And you don't have to pound it. You don't have to do anything but kind of lovingly swirl it and turn it up and down. Then 4 drops, 4 times a day in your mouth or in your water or any beverage that you want to drink. There it is. Okay, I am about ready to make myself a cup of tea using my seasonal spring support. Boy, did I put that on crooked. Okay. And so I do want to crush my herbs up a little finer. And if you remember, I have a video, you can watch it here, on how to take I did it on basil, on how you can take your herbs and crush them just using a colander so that we're getting the fine parts. And I probably need to use a bigger bowl because it's coming out the sides. But this helps just to crush it, to get it smaller. And we can take the twigs out if we want, or you can crush them up. You can put them in like a food processor, or even a coffee grinder, just to get them smaller bits. But the stems have medicinal properties just like the flowers do. So we're just getting them smaller. We're crushing them. I don't know if you can see. We're just taking and we're crushing them. Letting the colander help with that. And then that just makes it so it's easier to make it into a tea when the time comes. Okay. So I am going to make a tea. I have a little tea bag. And I'm just going to take, I'm just pinching in. Having made teas for a while, I can tell that that's probably a good amount right there. Probably about a tablespoon's worth. And I'm going to take, now that I've crushed, put them back in my jar for the next time I want some seasonal spring tea. My husband woke up with a little bit of a sinus this morning, so I may have him try this when he gets home. See what Mr. Sweet thinks about that. So now let me go get my water. I love my little bird teacup, and I'm going to put it in there. I'm going to let this steep, infuse. This is an infusion. Teas are infusions because we're not using we're not using boiling water. And if you notice, the tea bag is sitting at the top, and that's really what we want. We want the tea bag to sit at the top because then as the herb is infused into the water, it'll sink down and the uninfused water will rise up and get more. And then we're just going to let that sit there for about 10 minutes. And then we'll try out our tea and see what it tastes like. It's tea time. So my herbal infusion has been steeping for 10 minutes. And let's squeeze out the tea from the tea bag. Now first, so let's see what it tastes like. It tastes a little bit like grass. There's nothing, I think the peppermint's coming through. So what I'm going to do next time, instead of adding peppermint, dang it, I should have tried it without the peppermint first. Because other than that, I'm just getting a little bit of a grassy flavor. And because of that, I wasn't going to add honey. But I think I will add I'm going to add just a dab, not much. And look, Make sure you're getting your honey from a raw local supplier, especially if you're dealing with allergies, sinus issues. Raw local honey, and I didn't use very much, just the tip of my spoon. Raw local honey is so good. It's antibacterial, antifungal, I believe it's antimicrobial, and it's got lots of good nutrition. And it's because the pollinators are pollinating the flowers in our region. That's why raw local honey is the best. Okay, that adds just a little bit. Takes that little bit of grassy, which isn't bad, just makes it a little bit more pleasurable to drink. Thanks for joining me on this Wildcrafting episode and learning about the different things you can do, from flower essence remedies to tea infusions. There are so many things we can do with the plants that are just all around us.